Yeah, my name is Dennis Santos. I was in the area. I thought I'd stop by and talk to you guys for a minute. So I work for a company named Standard Process, and we're a whole food supplement line. Our cornerstone philosophy is that food will outperform anything you can get out there as far as drugs and treatments given enough time. And when you heal properly. So that is really why we have been so successful, especially with a program like this. This is our Purification Program. And if you will, this takes us back to ground zero. You know, there's people that are walking around with so many different symptoms, different conditions that they don't really have an answer to. They go from one specialist to another, and really, there's really, other than take this Band-Aid for your symptom, there really is never an answer as to this is what's wrong, we have to address this, and we have to make this better. So this program is very helpful with that type of, with those types of situations, health situations. So we're going to look at some things that I promise you, you've never heard of before. Some things that are going to sound almost absurd, because you're going to wonder, why didn't I learn this in health class? And why didn't my parents teach me how to do this or that, as far as taking the proper precautions with your health? So if there's any questions, please feel free. We're not waiting for you to finish, because I want to make sure that that if you have a question, you ask. So I want to make enough time for that. So please interrupt me at any point if you have any question on anything that you hear. This is something that I think you'll find very useful. We live in a toxic environment. The World Health Organization estimates that 4.6 million people die each year from causes directly attributable to air pollution. How many people die a year from AIDS? It's not even close to this number. 4.6 million people. Now, this is a serious problem, but this is something that largely gets overlooked. In 1989, the EPA estimated in 1 year almost 6 billion pounds of chemicals were either dumped into public sewage, released into the ground, surface waters, or air. What do you think that number is today? By the way, that was in 1989. Have we become less industrialized as a country? By no means. We're on this path, and that, to achieve what we want to achieve, there's a lot of byproducts that are being made. The problem is we're chronically exposed to these low-level toxins that after some time, with some genetic predispositions, it causes effects we don't want in our bodies. The National Assessment of Tap Water Quality, there were more than 140 contaminants with no enforceable safety limits found in the nation's drinking water. That means we really don't have an upper limit here, or a threshold for what is going to cause symptoms or disease or toxicity. That's basically what this is saying. A vast array of pharmaceuticals, including antibiotics, anticonvulsants, anti-inflammatory, mood stabilizers, and sex hormones, have been found in the drinking water supplies in 24 of 28 U.S. metropolitan areas tested. This is a birth control pill. This is your, as it says there, the mood stabilizers, your Prozac. And we wonder why we're hormonally so screwed up. Men now, it's just common. You've heard of man boobs. The scientific term is gynecomastia. I mean, boys have that growing up. This is something that wasn't common. I remember when I was growing up in gym class, I never saw, a little boy with breasts. It's so common now. And men are suffering from this more and more and more. Women are suffering from fat distribution that's very specific to estrogen dominance. We are exposed to these things in our water, but especially in our food. These toxins found in the environment are known as persistent organic pollutants, or POPs. POPs will inhibit weight loss, and I'll explain here in a second why. If you lose weight without detoxifying, you can become more sick, because weight loss mobilizes POPs from lipid stores and cause higher concentrations in the blood. Here's the thing that we're not taught in school. We should be taught. That the fat that we carry around in our bodies is not just a storage compartment for energy. We're taught that in school, in anatomy, in physiology. We're carrying that. Someone who's overweight is doing, their body's doing exactly what it needs to do, which is this: create an area of the body where we can store the excess energy, so that if one day you're thrown out in the desert, you can survive. It's a survival mechanism. There's absolutely nothing pathological about that. It's a normal physiological response to overeating, to eating too much. What they don't teach us is that that storage compartment is also there for storing toxins. So follow me here with this train of thought. What happens if you're chronically exposed to toxins? Whether, after today you'll realize most of it's coming from our foods, but foods, the air, you saw those numbers are pretty significant. We're exposed to toxins every day. Birth control, that's a toxin. All the medications we're on, all of this needs to go somewhere. The liver can't deal with that toxic overload. And where does it go? It goes to fat tissue, adipose tissue. And so we wonder why, we're restricting calories, we're working out, doing 2 hours of cardio a day, we're working out with weights, but we still can't get rid of men, the man boobs, women, these areas here, that we complain so much about. But this is the reason why, because we are storing these toxins in fat, and without removing the toxins, it's very difficult from your survival instinct, the body's survival instinct, to get rid of that fat. And there's another point here to consider. How healthy is it for someone to lose a lot of weight? You hear people have lost 30, 40 pounds without supporting the organs of detoxification. Remember, here as it says, you can become more sick because as you lose body fat, you're re-exposing your body to toxins it intelligently put aside. This is why you see people go through Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig, and they lose a lot of weight and then they get sick. So it's very important to support the chief organ of detoxification, the liver, while you're on any weight loss program. Even if you decide not to do this, it's very important to support that organ system, because that is going to keep you healthy while you're losing weight, and it's also going to accentuate the weight loss. What are Americans eating? The U.S. allows over 14,000 chemical additives to our food supply. The average American consumes more than 150 pounds of food additives and 158 pounds of sugar annually. Here's a sobering reality about that number: 158 pounds of sugar. It doesn't take 158 grams of sugar. It only takes 75 grams of sugar. And if you compare a pound to a gram, you know gram is a much smaller unit of measurement. 75 grams of sugar, that's it. So that's a nice bottle of pop. That's all it takes to reduce cell-mediated immunity 50% for 2 hours. So in English, what I'm saying is that the most basic unit of living material in our bodies will have 50% less chance of mounting the proper immune response, in other words, the proper resistance to invaders, for 2 hours. And we wonder why it's not anymore that something's going around, something's always going around. It's just, this is the world we live in now, and kids are always getting sick. It seems like every other week I go to pick up my daughter at her childcare, and there's a sign up, oh, there was a case of strep throat. A week goes by, then the next week, oh, there's a case of strep throat. It's like, it's constant. It's always, because our kids are so medicated with sugar all the time. Sugar will create havoc in the body and cause symptoms, will feed symptoms all the way from heart disease to seizures. And and write this down, if you have something to write on, this is a movie you'll want to watch. It's called First Do No Harm. It'll open your eyes to the effects of sugar. It has Meryl Streep in it, and basically she's trying to save her son from having part of his brain removed, because that's the last alternative to the seizures that he's having. And she's able to take him out of the hospital, abduct him, and take him to, I think it was like John Hopkins was doing this study on the ketogenic diet. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically taking carbs out of the diet. And within a month and a half, his seizures are gone. The nice thing is at the end, they show you the cameo appearances of all the patients that went through that program and how they never had seizures ever again. That's the power of food. Don't mistake what we're putting in our bodies as just things that, you know, it's okay, I'll be okay. It's not until you're in a hospital bed or having to inject yourself with insulin every day that you realize, maybe I should have listened a little more. What do ingested toxins look like? And this is a problem. A lot of times people don't eat. They're not sick because they're not trying. They're sick because they don't know. They don't know. We're taught to think that, you know, certain things are good for us. You know, we're taught, you know, in the 80s it was low fat, and so everyone jumped on that bandwagon. So we thought low fat was the thing to do. So this is a good picture of how we eat. I call this the SAD diet, Standard American Diet. That's what it is. But the reality of this is that this is what's taking us into the grave more and more every day as a country. I mean, the incidence of the cases of metabolic syndrome, or what's also called Syndrome X, diabetes, it's just skyrocketing. It's you know, I've seen stats and how we spend more on healthcare than we do with defense in this country. Why? We're the most, science is here, technology is here, but yet we can't keep people from getting sick. We can keep people alive that are sick. We're good at that. Why? Because there's money to be made in that. But keeping people healthy, there is no money to be made in that. Pharmaceutical companies aren't making money, the doctors aren't making money when people are healthy. So this is what's taking us there, right here. You clean this up and it's incredible how much we go toward health. I've never seen a president, whether you know you like his, you know, you're against his political, you know, ideas or not. But one thing I have noticed is they've made a push for this. Him and his wife, President Obama, is, you know, with how we eat and how a lot of what we're suffering from, as far as a country health-wise, is because of lifestyle decisions we make. They've been very clear about that, and it's right here. This is what I'm talking about. These are the health lifestyle decisions that we're making on a daily basis that are leading us to where we are. This is how we deal with toxins, and most of us are on board. As far as where that we want to stay away from, for example, the fumes. No one's going to go outside, start their car, take in those fumes. We would laugh at them, think they're crazy. Okay, but just as crazy as that is driving through, you know, this area like a fast food joint and going in, or taking your kids in there. That to me is just as crazy, because if you know what they're putting in the foods, it would open your eyes. You would never want to eat there. Most people don't want to know. It's a funny thing. I don't want to know what's in it. Why? Because I'd rather die happy. You know, I'd rather suffer from disease but be happy. You know, and that's a reality. Let's call it what it is. I mean, it is that. It's just, you know, I don't know, gradual, controlled suicide. But this is what's happening. As a matter of fact, I have a doctor in Morgantown, West Virginia, that has a Happy Meal sitting on his counter, just like that. And this Happy Meal just celebrated its 5th birthday. 5 years. No mold, nothing. Why? Because mold and bacteria can't live off of something that is inert, that's dead. And here's what's really, you know, it seems like, well, why is that so bad? Then, you know, we're just putting nothing into our body. No, the body does not deal well with vacuums. You put into your body something that is inert, it's dead, it will try to make it work. So here's the reality of the people that you think are overweight, and it's